Hey, what's up? It's Silas here. This is my reading of the Constitution of the United States of America. I'm doing this in several parts. Have already read the actual Constitution itself, the Constitution of the United States. In this one, I'm going to be reading Amendments 1 through 10, which constitute what is known as the Bill of Rights. And I will follow it up with reading Amendments 11 to 27 in a different location. Okay, getting into that. Hello, so welcome to this reading. In this one, I'm going to be focusing primarily on just reading through the proposed amendments to the United States Constitution, which I read in a separate post or video. I think it would be of utility to refresh your mind on what the Constitution actually is, so you can check out the link on the screen if you're watching this on YouTube, or somewhere else, wherever you're listening to this, there shall be an actual link to actually get to my reading of the actual Constitution. I will have a separate posting of this where I go into a longer preamble and also, after reading them, go through the actual ones that were ratified, because the proposed was 12 of them right after the Constitution was written, and then the ratified one were the 10, which are considered the Bill of Rights of the United States of America, starting with the First Amendment to the freedom of speech that is more commonly known. But I had this observation that I personally can't recall when I had read the Constitution after being in high school or in college. And I thought maybe a lot of other people out there, not just American voters, who I think they should kind of know more about it before they actually vote, but when it comes to people who speak abroad speaking about the United States of America, they don't really understand what is the soul of America, what is American values, what are American values, what is make America great again, what is the America in that? And I thought, okay, maybe the Constitution. The Constitution is a good basis. So it's good to have this information out there. We live in the information age, and I think we can lead to the age of understanding. And I think most problems in the world exist not because of what X is, but because of how we define X. And I think one of the parts to define America would be the Constitution of the United States of America. And that system, this social contract, I think is the basis of it. So the more we know about it, I think the better we can actually go forward with and deal with what the American reality is today and its importance in both the United States of America and the world at large. And it can help with some things dealing with, I think, some of the confusions that we see currently right now as I record this video on November 11th of 2020 after a very contentious presidential election, which has brought up some continued confusion, apparently, with people wondering why is the system this way, what's going to go forward, and the system is explained in the Constitution. The process of dealing with it to whatever actual ends are going to be after the next couple of days, weeks, or months will be in part due to what the Constitution is, and any changes to another election in the future are also made available to the United States of America by following the Constitution of the United States of America, which was written by James Madison back in 1789, and that's who is going to be on a speed drawing on the screen if you're actually watching the video version of this, and you'll be able to find links to the video version if you're listening to the audio version of this. And James Madison was the one who wrote it, but this was inspired by Thomas Jefferson. Madison is also the one who drafted the Constitution of the United States of America, and people talk about, is it just a document the way it is? Is it a living document? That's some of the primary arguments towards it. But I think this amendment system is a part included in it that enables you to actually alter it, whether you think it's a living document or something set in stone to only be translated as an originalist, as the people who say, okay, we have to think, what were they thinking at that time? But for more of my thoughts on what they were thinking at that time and some of my thoughts on how it applies to today or what the nation is, check out the version of this with my commentary and longer preamble. But for now, let's just get right into the reading. Thank you for listening. Speak to you more at the end. This is from archive.gov.gov. Says here, the Constitution might never have been ratified if the framers hadn't promised to add a Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution gave citizens more confidence in a new government and contained many of today's Americans' most valued freedoms. You can visit the site and it will have more resources and information about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the amendments 11 through 27, which will be my source for actually reading these transcripts. Now on to that. The Bill of Rights, a transcription. On this page, There's going to be a transcription of the 1789 Joint Resolution of Congress proposing 12 amendments to the United States Constitution, the U.S. Bill of Rights, which is the preamble to the Bill of Rights, and amendments 1 through 10. There's a note here. The following text is a transcription of the enrolled original of the Joint Resolution of Congress proposing the Bill of Rights, which is on permanent display in the rotunda at the National Archives Museum. The spelling and punctuation reflects the original. On September 25th, 1789, the First Congress of the United States proposed 12 amendments to the Constitution. The 1789 Joint Resolution of Congress proposing the amendments is on display in the rotunda in the National Archives Museum. 10 of the proposed 12 amendments were ratified by 3/4 of state legislatures on December 15th, 1791. The ratified articles, Articles 3 through 12, constitute the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, or the United States Bill of Rights. In 1992, 203 years after it was proposed, Article 2 was ratified as the 27th Amendment to the Constitution. Article 1 was never ratified. Transcription of the 1789 Joint Resolution of Congress proposing 12 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Congress of the United States began and held at the city of New York on Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1789. The conventions of a number of states, having at the time of their adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire, in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the beneficent end of its institution. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America, in Congress assembled, 2/3 of both houses concurring that the following articles be proposed to the legislatures of several states as amendments to the Constitution of the United States, all or any of which articles, when ratified by 3/4 of said legislatures, to be valid to all intents and purposes, as part of said Constitution. Viz. Articles in addition to and amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America, proposed by Congress and ratified by the legislatures of several states pursuant to the 5th article of the original Constitution. Article the First. After the first enumeration required by the first article of the Constitution, there shall be one representative for every 30,000, until the number shall amount to 100, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall be not less than 100 representatives, nor less than one representative for every 40,000 persons, until the number of representatives shall amount to 200, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall not be less than 200 representatives, nor more than one representative for every 50,000 persons. Article the Second. No law varying the compensation for the services of senators and representatives shall take effect until after election of representatives shall be intervened. Article the Third. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Article the Fourth. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Article the Fifth. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in the manner to be prescribed by law. Article the Sixth. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, house, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Article the 7th. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime, unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be put twice in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Article the 8th. In all criminal persecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Article the 9th. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Article the 10th. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Article the 11th. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Article the 12th. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Attest, and I think these are the people who signed it, Frederick Augustus Muhlenberg, Speaker of the House of Representatives, John Adams, Vice President of the United States and President of the Senate, John Beckley, Clerk of the House of Representatives, Sam A. Otis, Secretary of the Senate. So that's it. Those were the proposed one. And as mentioned, the first one has not been ratified, and number 2 was ratified recently, relatively recently, in 1990, I think they said, as the 27th Amendment. So here now they have, following this, just the Bill of Rights and the actual ones that were ratified. And as mentioned, this was done later on, a few years later. What's that? 2 years later, about 2 years later, in 1791. So that's it for now. I have a separate video post thing where I actually reread the actual 10 that were ratified, which was 3 through 12 of these ones that were proposed, and give some commentary on it. And as I mentioned there, I think it's worth repeating the things and going over to learn and get the things to actually sit in your mind. So if you want, you can check that post out. I shall be posting it at the same time as this. So if you are checking this out, wherever you are listening to this, that will also be there available for you. That one also has a longer preamble with just some thoughts of what I think about the Constitution. So it's worth listening to again. And this one is more just for sharing for people who may not have heard the actual amendments and things like that. So let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Should be links to the merchandise store where you'll be able to find the James Madison speed drawing that's going on the screen as you've been actually watching the video version of this, if you are watching the video version. If you're not, you can get that. There's George Washington, there's Frederick Douglass, there's Ludwig von Mises, there's other people in the Anyone But K series where I was saying, hey, let's actually substitute Che Guevara from that pretty aesthetic in the art sense design and have these other people that I think would be better to be on that than Che Guevara, who I think is kind of a rather garbage human being. These other people are flawed, they have issues, but I think they have actually contributed more to the world than Che Guevara, which is a rather low bar. So that's just the thinking behind these designs. But let me know what you think about this Constitution reading. Come back soon for the posting of 11 through 12, which I shall also do in a similar manner as this. Have one where I'm just reading through the actual amendments, and then have a one that has me reading through the amendments and giving commentary on the actual amendments. Okay, goodbye.